Welcome to Joe's Astrology, and I'd like to talk about one of the best books, one of the best astrology books that I have read, and I haven't read all of them. I've read a lot of books on astrology, and this one here is a must-have. It's called the EA Glossary by Jeffrey Wolf Green, the founder of evolutionary astrology. And as you can see, it's big. It's about 400 pages, and the typing is very small, so it's a huge book. And some of the things that are really good about this book, one being it's an all-around astrology book. It covers so much, almost everything at a basic level. It has the Pluto. It has the Pluto rules that he wrote in his Pluto book. It has aspects and phases. Just to give you some examples here in the aspects and phases, let's look at some of these interesting descriptions he has in here. And there's a bunch of other authors in this book. It's not just him. So he's got the septile. If you've never heard of the septile, it's a very interesting aspect in astrology. I have it in my chart. I've seen it in other people's charts. I've seen it work. It's pretty phenomenal. The crescent phase septile. Now the sense of individuality which has been initially established in the new phase, by the time it gets to the septile, it is linked with a conceptual sense or an instinctual sense, depending upon the planets, of a special destiny. Something out of the ordinary. This aspect has been called an aspect of fate. This is actually true, but let's agree on what we mean by fate first. What is fate? A fickle finger. Fate is simply an event that is determined to happen no matter what you do. Fate is usually a rather meaningful event in your life. 20% of anybody's life is fated. 80% is free choice. We all have fated events. Fate is normally linked with karmic consequence. A septile means that the soul makes a program wherein throughout its life there will be on a cyclic basis the famous Y in the road, and at key points in one's life fate prevails, meaning that circumstances will be manifested in which the very nature of the circumstances point out the right direction to go. The value of understanding the fated quality of this aspect would be that when you see a transiting planet affecting either one of these planets, you can expect something. So it's very interesting in my life. I wouldn't be here making this video today if it wasn't for the septile in effect in my chart, from what I can see in just in my life. And like I said, I've seen it in other people's life where it seems to be more of a one and done, at least from what I understand about them. We have the quintile, which I just did a video on. The crescent phase quintile, creative transformation. That's when you have 72 degrees. So the septile is 51 degrees, and the quintile is 72 degrees. Creative transformation. It can be a struggle to establish it. It can be a great source of great enthusiasm about life, feeling good about things as you develop it because it is utterly new, like an adventure unfolding every minute. So this is like people will have this get into a creative mode that kind of around the plants that are involved, and you feel like life is renewed as you're developing this creativity. So there's like 20 phases or 15 to 20 pages on aspects. So if you're interested in aspects, the trine, the sextile, this goes through the phases, includes the phases, and there's a chart in the back. I can show you what I mean by phases, and maybe I'll put up on the screen a better chart, but that's the phases. And if you think of like the moon phases, it's similar to the moon phases with new moon, full moon, etc. Now, if you're into yoga, there's a lot of references to yoga and Eastern philosophies in this book, because that is where Jeffrey Wolf Green is coming from with his astrology. There's a whole chapter on the soul if you're interested in learning about what the soul is or might be, depending on where you're coming from. There is a chapter on synastry and composite charts, when two people come together, the relationship between the two, and then the new chart that they create when they're in a relationship. There's a section on devas, angels, fairies under Damon's soul. Damon's souls are home in nature and naturally aligned with all the devas of nature that many call angels, fairies, and the like. Devas and souls consciousness that are within nature but veiled from the eyes of most. They also inhabit the life force within various plants. The nervous systems of plants and animals are almost identical to humans. So there's more about the Daemon soul. There's chart rectification. See if I can find anything else in here that's interesting. Soulmates, Lilith, got the asteroids in here, karma. Yeah, it's just a really overall good book on astrology. I would check it out if you're into astrology, or just subscribe to my channel, because I'm probably going to read a lot from this book as well as every other book that I have and will get in the future. Life purpose, work, career. Every soul, relative to its evolutionary conditions, has a true life purpose that is consistent with its ongoing evolutionary needs. The entire paradigm of the 10th, Saturn, Capricorn, 2nd, Taurus, Venus, the 6th, Mercury, and Virgo correlate to life purpose as expressed through the agency of one's work or career. When the soul begins to evolve into the spiritual state, then the soul is inwardly and progressively attuned to the consciousness we call the source or goddess. As such, these souls will desire to do work that they feel inwardly called to do from that source. That's another thing. This book talks about the different stages of consciousness. There is so much in here that, like this paragraph here, that is making claims, big giant claims about life that majority of people are unaware of or disagree with. So if you're into that sort of thing, check it out. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and have a great day.